Hello there. I'm Martin Silverman, and if you live in Metuchen, New Jersey, you've probably seen me around. I'm your neighbor, an acquaintance, and maybe even a trusted source of how-to information. But what you may not know about me is that I'm also a former reporter and a photojournalist. I've worked for the Washington Post, the Associated Press, U.S. News and World Report, and more small newspapers than I can recall. Those of you who know my work know that my reporting has always been accurate, balanced, and fair. I've also worked as a technical writer, churning out installation and service manuals and technical warning bulletins for industry. So I have a lot of experience interviewing engineers to write for the people who install and service technical systems. That said, I've always been a print journalist, so producing and narrating YouTube videos is kind of new for me. This won't be the slickest video you've ever seen, but the information in it may just save your life. Today, I need to warn you about a ticking time bomb I found in my own home that could have killed me. That's not an exaggeration. Even more frightening, my home may be only one of 100 or more with this ticking time bomb. So it may be in your house too. This is my NTI brand boiler located in the basement of my home. It's supposed to heat my home in the winter and provide domestic hot water for bathing and cooking year-round. It looks innocent enough, but it's anything but. It's actually a ticking time bomb for, and I quote, property damage, serious injury, or death, according to NTI. According to the Federal Consumer Product Safety Commission, NTI has had multiple recalls because their boilers leaked poison carbon monoxide gas. Carbon monoxide is a byproduct of combustion. It's actually the same gas that comes out of the tailpipe of your car or truck. In one recall alone, 23,000 boilers were deemed unsafe enough to need to be recalled. And just this past June, almost 1,000 more boilers were recalled for the same danger of carbon monoxide poisoning, also according to the CPSC website. Now, my NTI boiler was not part of any NTI recall, and yet it is no less dangerous than any of the 24,000 potentially lethal boilers already recalled by NTI. Let me show you why. This is the installation manual that came with my NTI boiler. Federal and state regulations require it be packed in the box so the installers have the latest installation instructions and safety warnings. It's also the same kind of manual I used to write in my tech writer days. As you can see, the manual shows a lot of wear and tear from being read and reread. But just to be note, that's all from me. The installers never took it out of the shrink wrap. This is page 12 of the manual. As you can see, there's a pretty big warning. Quote, do not insert PVC directly into the appliance exhaust adapter as it could deform from the clamping force of the gear clamp. Now, take a look at the end, right where it clearly states that this could result, and again, I quote, in property damage, serious injury, or death. Now let's take a close-up look at my NTI boiler. And yes, that's PVC pipe inserted into the appliance exhaust adapter, being held in place by a gear clamp, exactly as the installation manual warned not to do. Let me repeat that warning, that property damage, serious injury, or death from carbon monoxide poisoning may result. According to Alan Wilson, the technical services chief at NTI, They even include a 5-inch transition piece of a different type of plastic called CPVC in the box, so the installers will insert it into the appliance exhaust adapter and not use a piece of PVC like the installers on my NTI boiler did. CPVC, which is what they should have used, is different than PVC, which is what they did use. It has a higher melting temperature and it's stronger. I also learned from Alan Wilson that because my NTI boiler was used for both heating my home and producing domestic hot water for showers and cooking, the PVC exhaust pipe should not have been used anywhere in the exhaust piping. That's because the temperature of the exhaust gas exiting my NTI boiler is around 190 degrees or more, but the maximum safe temperature to use PVC pipe is only 140 degrees. Quote, "It's very important for safety reasons to use CPVC, polypro, or stainless venting options." I then talked to the people who made the PVC pipe to confirm that they agreed with Alan Wilson and NTI. The company is called NIBCO, and their specific pipe model of the pipe connected to my exhaust port is a NIBCO model 4806. This is NIBCO's online catalog of products, and as you can clearly see, the NIBCO 4806 PVC fitting should not be used at temperatures exceeding 140 degrees. Remember that according to Alan Wilson from NTI, my NTI boiler operates around 200 degrees. I then spoke with Jeffrey Owens, who's a Senior Technical Services Advisor for NIBCO. The first thing that Mr. Owens told me was the PVC pipe should not be used in applications involving heat because it degrades over time. He said that's why you'll never see PVC pipe connected to the hot water line of a kitchen or bathroom sink, even though the hot water in the line is only 120 degrees or 20 degrees less than the absolute limit. The constant contact with heat over time causes the PVC to fail, and you'll end up with water leaking everywhere. I then asked Mr. Owens what would happen at 200 degrees and with lethal carbon monoxide gas instead of water. He responded with the email you see on your screen. Quote, "The installers are putting the exposed people in harm's way of potential outgas fumes as the PVC deterioration is heat accelerated, and fire threat, in addition to carbon monoxide exposure." Just to be clear, by the, quote, "exposed people," Mr. Owens means me, and potentially you if you had an NTI boiler installed by the same large HVAC contractor with the same disregard of the installation instructions. This contractor has refused to make any repairs despite a 5-year warranty in place, and his attorney has labeled this defect, and I quote, "an insignificant punch list item." Mr. Owens then added, and I quote, "We suggest that you protest to AHJ, that's authority having jurisdiction, and show that the product application is in excess of the manufacturer's rating and is a threat. We cannot control how people misapply our product," unquote. In this case, the AHJ is the Metuchen Building Department, whose inspectors passed this installation with flying colors, even though it wasn't safe. You should also know that the same building inspectors also inspect for Edison, New Jersey, and Carteret, New Jersey, in addition to Metuchen. As it turns out, in addition to being very unsafe, this installation did not meet the building code requirements and should not have passed a building inspection, according to the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, which regulates building codes and oversees local building departments. It's a building code violation to use any plastic vent pipe unless that pipe is specifically listed as approved in the installation manual. And as you'll recall, this use of PVC is not. To ensure that inspectors have the installation manual available, the building code requires that the installation manual be on site and that the inspectors read through it to ensure that all safety requirements have been met. But according to the Metuchen, New Jersey plumbing inspector, he doesn't read it. In fact, he doesn't even skim it, because in his opinion, there are too many manuals to read and takes too much time. This was later confirmed to me by Metuchen construction official John Soltis. You'll recall that John Soltis and his team of building inspectors also inspect for Edison, New Jersey and Carteret, New Jersey. So those are a lot of inspections. I then reached out to Metuchen Mayor Jonathan Bush. Mayor Bush told me he was too busy to speak with me, and he referred my concerns to Metuchen Borough Administrator Melissa Perlstein. Ms. Perlstein did meet with me, but she refused to look at or accept any of the written documents I brought for her review, and a month later she issued the following statement. Quote, "The borough stands by its actions in its inspections and approvals," unquote. I have to confess that knowing what I know about my inspection and what I was told by the Metuchen plumbing inspector as well as John Soltis, the construction official that Ms. Perlstein references, I felt that follow-up questions were definitely warranted. I never got to ask them. After my meeting with Ms. Perlstein, the Metuchen Building Department became a lot less forthcoming, and Ms. Perlstein stated in her email, quote, "The construction official will not be issuing any reports or statement unless specifically required by law to do so." I wish I could tell you that the PVC insertion into the exhaust port was the only safety violation with my NTI boiler, but it's not, according to NTI. As you can see, the installation manual warns that the exhaust pipe should not be insulated, and that doing so may, and I quote, "result in property damage, personal injury, or death." You're now looking at a photo of the exhaust pipe on the other side of the wall where the boiler is mounted. That's black foam insulation that the installers used to insulate the pipe, and that's exactly what the installation manual warns not to do. The installers told me they had to insulate the pipe because the room is unheated and open to the elements. In fact, it gets so cold in there in the wintertime that the condensation dripping off the pipe becomes an ice-slipping hazard on the floor. Even with the insulation, condensation forms anyway, but at least it can be collected into a drip pan. That pan, by the way, needs to be emptied 2 to 3 times each week during the heating system, or it overflows, and it's only one of several such pans and buckets. When I bought a brand new heating system, I never expected to have to empty drip pans, and although the pans themselves are not a danger like the PVC pipe, I would hardly consider the need to empty them every few days a, quote, "insignificant punch list item." Here's a cutaway view of the same pipe, which clearly shows that the pipe is non-metallic and the pipe is insulated with black foam insulation. Turns out that not only is this dangerous, but it's also yet another building code violation missed by the Metuchen building inspectors, according to NTI's Stephen Weiland. Okay, so now you've sat through a master's class in how to not install an NTI boiler, and you're probably figuring that nothing else could have been done wrong. Not true. Channeling my inner Steve Jobs, and I quote, "Wait, there's more." You're looking at a video of carbon monoxide gas exiting out from the boiler and being blown back right into my house. That's because the exit is much lower than the chimney and much lower than the gable vent. I was able to measure not only an increase in carbon monoxide levels when this occurred, but also in moisture infiltration into my attic from the constant misting over time. This misting leads to insect infiltration and destruction of the wood beams holding up my house. So I've given you a lot of good information to determine if you and your loved ones are in danger. What I haven't given you is the name of the HVAC contractor, and that's because I'm prohibited by law from doing so. You see, when I got ready to produce this information and to warn you, I sent the information to the contractor to make sure that they had a chance to comment and to tell me where, if anything, I was wrong. They didn't do that. They filed a defamation suit against me, and even though the story hadn't even been written, they claimed that I had defamed them. I had to hire an attorney. I had to negotiate with them to not use their name. Otherwise, I would not be able to present this warning to you at all. So if you're concerned that you may be using the same contractor and then might get the same results, I do have a suggestion for you. Ask them directly. Have you ever filed a defamation suit against anybody? That'll give you your answer. Now, right about now, you may be thinking to yourself, I'm sure my system is safe and was installed correctly. The installer read and understood the safety instructions in the installation manual, and I'm sure that the building inspector did what they were supposed to do. Well, I'd like to give you one more example. The example of Dale Haddon, who died at Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital from carbon monoxide poisoning. Dale was an actress and a model. You may have seen her in movies and television or some ads. She had money, she had fame, but what she didn't have was a safe flue pipe connected to her heating system. And her house filled up with carbon monoxide gas. She went to sleep at night and never woke up. You do need to take this seriously. I know it's difficult. I know there's a lot to grasp, but you do need to take this seriously because this clearly is a problem. Hopefully, I've given you the tools. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And this is a developing story, so if you subscribe, you'll get notifications of any updates or additional YouTube videos. And please give it a thumbs up. Normally they ask for that so that they can make money. In this case, there's no money to be made. This is purely just as a public service to warn you. But by giving it a thumbs up, YouTube may give it to somebody else, and hopefully you'll save a life. I thank you for the privilege of your time. This is Martin Silverman.